plus views. All right, minimum.
You are a diversity, equity, and inclusion leader. Can you explain to me what is that and how does that work?
Yeah, so that means that, again, my focus, my learning laboratory is the workplace. So I roll into organizations and I ensure that Black people, that people of color, that women, that gender minorities, that sexual minorities, that people with disabilities are being treated respectfully and appropriately and fairly within the context of the workplace. Protected categories are protected for a reason. And a lot of people are, when people are actually keen on hiring folks from these demographics, because that's the first hurdle, a lot of organizations don't have any of these folks represented. If they actually do hire folks from underrepresented demographics, a lot of people will hire and then tokenize, hire and then tell them to go sit down and shut up. We got you for the picture on the annual report. We got you for the picture on the website. Now don't contribute. And those microaggressions are not at all insignificant. Like people are making stereotypes and talking about how people talk, how people dress, making racial implications and comments, things that are inappropriate in the world, much less the workplace. So my job is to go in and I quantify, like I do metrics. And my company is the only company that can actually quantify diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then create a metrics-based accountability system for making sure that we close the gap, because Black people in companies all across this country and all around the world are often having a very different experience from white people in companies. And even if you just look at the organizational chart, you often have the most diversity at the bottom of the pyramid, and the higher up you go, the more white and the more male the organization becomes. That's not always happening on purpose, but that fact limits the ability of Black men and women and Hispanic men and women and queer men and women to have the opportunity to be successful, to thrive, to feed their families, and to live into their best lives. So my job is to knock down those barriers and make sure that people are having an equitable experience.
Amazing. I know truckloads of businessmen and women, but mostly men around the country, that they don't want to hire Black people. Foreigners who have come here as well, they don't like hiring Black people because the Blacks are so much trouble. They are always complaining. They show up late. They think that everything is racism. Anytime you have to correct them. And so a lot of companies don't like hiring the Blacks. And they also are concerned that when they let them go, they're going to be sued for being called racist, right? Because the Blacks think everything is racist.
I only ever saw this guy with the Destiny clip before, and it seems like he was giga liberal or some shit, But now I've seen 3 clips of this guy, and he is, pretty opposite.
So they are trying to avoid hiring Black people. So if you don't correct the Blacks, why would anybody want to be bothered with them?
So ascribing those particular attributes to Black people only is super problematic, because you get people of all races in organizations who complain, who show up late, who don't do their job, who sue you when you mistreat them. So those are not characteristics of Black people.
But it's well and alive in the Black folks, though.
Well, it is well and alive in all folks. That is well and alive in all folks. Listen, I'm an organizational development specialist. I have a doctorate of management in organizational development. I'm in organizations all over the world. And I can tell you that statistically speaking, all over the world, those are management issues that show up in all races, in all genders, and in all sexual orientations. They show up across the board. And what you're describing is the conscious bias of ostensibly white people you're talking about, who don't know how to communicate with, lead, manage, or interact with Black people across differences and inspire the kind of behavior that they're looking for. You've got to actually create a culture of intention and decide how you want people to feel and experience their day-to-day work life. And if you can't create that sense of belonging, that sense of engagement, that sense of inspiration, then you are every bit as much culpable for how people are showing up in the workplace.
But why not train the blacks how to act rather
You
than
can't. That's it.
put,
What you're
Laos.
saying right now is illegal.
rather
That's
than
illegal.
putting the responsibility on the owner of the company?
No, that's what you just said is illegal.
Why is
You
that?
cannot train the blacks.
Why not?
That's not, you have, if you are offering training, you have to train everyone. You can't make assignments by race like that. There are laws that protect against isolating groups for purposes like that. You can't do, that's like, you can't just hire people. You can't hire people because of their race, because of their gender.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the company training them. Why don't your job, why don't you switch your role rather than putting that responsibility on the companies? Why not train the blacks how to work, how to act at work?
That is an absurd notion.
Oh, why it's hard to train them?
Bro, this guy's giga troll. Hey, welcome, boy. I mean, the guests that come on this show, don't they know? Don't they know? Like, I don't know. They don't know? Feel like you would do some research or something if you're gonna go on a show, right? Watch like 2 episodes or whatever of the podcast, I guess. Hey, welcome by, thank you for 3 years, man. Enjoy new Diamond. Uli CDC Young Fan, Only 5 Head Plays, Penigov and Cat Jewel. Thank you. Wonk D as well. Welcome back, senoritas. Next guest is Forsen. No, I don't think so. Alright, ladies.